You're listening to the Bullpen on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5, so fresh and so clean here on a Saturday afternoon. Sean Mapes, Cam Smith, Brian McDonald here with you. And if you want to join in the conversation about the Astros or later coming up in the next two segments after this, the Houston Texans, give us a call on the HRMP listener line at 713-780-3776 like Jacob has done. He wants to call in and talk about Tony Kukoc. I'm interested to see where this is going. Jacob, welcome into the Bullpen. What you got for us? AJ?
All
right, Jacob,
yes,
sorry about that. You're with us here now. Welcome into the Bullpen. What do you got to say about Tony Kukoc?
All right. What I want to say, because y'all been giving him trash all week. All week. He gets in the game. Yeah, he gave up. He came in with his two fastballs, and they took it out the park. All right. He settled down after that. Now, you just say he had 10 strikeouts. So you beat. No. He broke he tied a record. Out of all Astros players, he struck out 8 in a row. Yeah. He tied a record of all Astros pitchers. And not only that, he would have got out of the sixth. I think he was going to pitch him six. That's it. He was 5 2/3, two outs, and one strike away. The catcher missed a foul tip. When he missed that foul tip ball, and then he walked somebody, and then it was, he had to come out. And they was not going to pitch him seven in the seventh and the eighth and the ninth. He was just there for six outs. Six innings, and that's it. So he did an 8, and he gonna make y'all eat crow because y'all been talking about him. And that trade was worth it, and it's gonna because Joey, I've been wanting to tell you, Joey was trash. Boston Allen was trash. All right, man.
All right, well, thank you for the call, Jacob. And if you want to get into the conversation, give us a call or a text at 713-780-3776. Jacob must have been confusing us with other people because we haven't been on to trash Kikuchi. But anyway, I definitely think
he's definitely a Killer Bees listener.
Yeah, he's definitely Killer Bees listener. That what do your boys call us? The Angry Bees? Well, I say us. I mean Joel and Jeremy.
Yeah, well, you're a bee too.
I can be a bee at times. Yeah, it depends on what's going on. But
Brian.
I wouldn't mark myself in the angry bee category. I think I mean, you've done a show with me for about a year and a half now. I think you're aware of that.
Bee.
But let's talk about the trade. We didn't get into that part of the conversation last segment because I think it was fair to say coming in to obviously before we saw the results of last night's game. And again, to Jacob's point, no argument because I haven't said the opposite, but he was great last night. There's no other way to say it. Rather we say B+ or he was saying A. I don't really think there's much of an argument there, but they're both really good grades. I would have taken either because I was passing through high school C's. But I mean, I don't think it was so much, at least in my opinion, tell me what you guys think. I don't know if it was so much what they gave up. Because to the caller's point, I don't think Joey Loperfido most likely was more than a fourth outfielder in the future. Jake Bloss, who obviously, I mean, he was drafted last season. He skipped AAA. There's a ton of time, no reason to make a judgment call now. But what he done on the field wasn't great. So, I mean, could he be a future top end of the rotation guy? Maybe. But it looked like at this point you're probably hoping for 3 or 4. So not amazing levels. And Will Wagner, I mean. He hits for a good slash line in AAA, but he's 26, so he's an old prospect, and he's got basically no home run power at all. So I didn't really care about what they gave up. There's not a lot of star potential in what they gave up. The problem was what they got back, because at the time, Kikuchi's coming in for as bad as Jake Bloss was. His recent starts were numbers just as bad as Jake Bloss. So It wasn't so much, oh my God, they gave up these future all-star players. Is like, if you're going to give up a decent haul at the time, again, looks a little bit foolish after last night, but at that time I was like, man, we could have, Kikuchi is it? I mean, that was the kind of the feeling.
I mean, yeah, I'm with you on that too. It's not like they gave up 3 amazing prospects. I mean, I think everybody started to kind of fall in love with Loperfido, and maybe I don't know, B-Mac, you might be a little biased because we did Space Cowboys, and so it's like I've kind of kept up with him over the last season or two, so I had an appreciation for him. I think it was just one of those things where it's like you're giving up 3 prospects for a guy that you're hoping is going to turn things around. And what I think people really wanted
was a rental.
is a rental.
And
I think
is a rental, yeah.
I think Astro
Key
fans
point.
wanted somebody that was a solidified number 2 or number 3 starter, somebody that is already an ace. Because if you want to flip the baseball card around, Kikuchi's technically had one decent season, and it was 2023, and he went 11-6. All his other seasons, he's had like mid 4 or 5 ERAs. So it's like you're taking a huge gamble on a rental player. I think that is what irked most people, and I think that's a fair argument to have.
Yeah, if Kikuchi was signed for next year too, I'd been completely fine with it. It was just the fact he was a rental, and there was no one else in the trade. If it was Kikuchi who's a rental and also like a rental reliever, who's,
Right.
Yeah,
When all these other
just as good as Caleb Ferguson, like that would have been fine.
and all these other players that other teams are trading for and not giving up a whole lot either, like the Flaherty trade,
Well, the Randy Arozarena trade that we talked about last weekend, the Mariners only had to give up like their 8th and 20-something prospects. So, yeah, like you mentioned, like last season, Cam was Kikuchi's only season with the ERA under 4. He actually made an All-Star team another season where his ERA at the end of the year still ended up being over 4, but I guess had a good first half of the year. He's been very up and down, and I think that was the criticism. Like there was a spot in this season. It was from like mid-April to I think maybe around the first week of June where his ERA was like 2.3, 2.4. He had a great 8 start stretch, but the problem is he's been very inconsistent. I think one of you mentioned the name kind of like reclamation project, like having to fix them. Like we went into the trade season thinking if we give up names we value, which those 3 names are names we value, then we should be able to get a guy like a Tyler Anderson, who was an all-star this year, who has another year of team control and has had 2 really great seasons where you're not feeling like you have to completely rebuild them. I think maybe more so than anything, obviously the rental part is part of it. The ERA that you look at is not great, but I think it was maybe just a disappointment in the market was much tougher than any of us really realized going in. Like this might have been the best they could do for that trade package. And it was just disappointing to all of us because we went in with a much higher expectation of getting a higher level of return for the guys they gave up.
Yeah, I think part of it's also like Cam touched on with being familiar with Bloss and Loperfido, and for Astros fans, like in general, those 2 guys were on the major league team. They weren't definitely not Bloss. Loperfido, we could have a discussion of whether they're even major league quality at this point in their career, but because they were Astros and like Loperfido's made good plays in the outfield and everyone remembers those all those home runs he hit to start the AAA season. I think Astros fans in the initial reaction overvalued guys that they knew the names of because they traded 3 guys.
I think that's natural.
3 guys that Astros fans knew the names of, whereas Dodgers traded 2 guys that I don't know, probably most Dodgers fans and definitely no one else outside Dodger fandom had ever heard of for Jack Flaherty. So there's a little bit of like, wait, they traded 2 nobodies. It's like, yeah, Loperfido
is a nobody.
Loperfido and Bloss might be a nobody. Like,
yeah,
they might be. I don't know where they were on the Astros prospects list, but you also have to remember that the Astros have one of the worst farm systems in baseball.
Right. Even if they're at the top, unless their name is Jacob Melton, even if they're in the top 5, that doesn't necessarily mean a lot because it's like a bottom 3, bottom 5 farm system.
Yeah.
And I think I saw that they didn't give up anybody inside their top 8. So that's if that number is correct, that's what I saw online. If they gave up nobody inside their top 8 and it's the top 8 from a bad farm system, I mean, I see Loperfido as a 4th outfielder. Jake Bloss could develop into something, but what do we see from young starting pitchers? I mean, it's so hit or miss. And Bloss hadn't done anything so far to say, okay, that guy looks like a future stud. And then again, Will Wagner's a 26-year-old prospect. Yeah. I'm not betting on 26-year-old prospects who've had like 3 home runs this year, who has no home run pop. Great, he can hit for a good slash line, but he's got no pop, needing to play probably a corner infield spot. Sorry, I'm not letting that hold me up for making a trade. I think really the disappointment is just, you say Kikuchi hasn't been that good for Toronto this year, or overall for his career, he's been very mid. Jeremy's nicknamed him the mid unit, which is, so mean. It's very mean. And I think fans just expected more. They expected some of these big names that were talked about for the trade deadline. They saw the other teams make those moves while the Astros got somebody that was much below their hopes and their dreams for this trade deadline, and they're just disappointed and kind of lashing out. I think that's kind of what it is.
And the rollout of the trade was very funny, where it was like Jake Bloss has been scratched from a start, and so everyone's
No
like,
further explanation.
yeah. So it's like, okay, so he's probably getting traded, and then it was Joey Loperfido was also in this trade, and you're like, wait, who are they getting?
Well, and I think a lot of it too was I think a lot of fans wanted that first baseman, and I think there was a lot of talk of different names that it seemed
Yeah.
like they were going to go after.
Paredes, Diaz,
Yeah, I mean, hell, even Josh Bell basically.
Yeah.
I think he got like released and then traded for nothing. I mean, I'm not saying he's a much better upgrade than John Singleton, but he is still an upgrade. And I think a lot of fans too wanted that first baseman brought in, and obviously they're going to ride with Singleton. So
Yeah, I definitely would have been in favor of Yandy Diaz, but I think the parade once we saw what it took to get just Kikuchi, I think the dream for Isaac Paredes was dead. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he's like 26 with 3 years of team control coming off an All-Star season. He was going to cost more than you had.
well, he was already gone, but there was still Yandy. Like you could
Yeah.
still have gotten
Yeah,
Yandy from
right.
Tampa Bay.
the dream after Singwa Kikuchi went for the dream of trading for another guy kind of went out the window.
Like, okay, yeah,
Where-
if that's what it costs to get the mid unit. I
Yeah.
mean, you're not. Yeah, I think the failure, and it's something Sean you mentioned, and I heard it mentioned on the station earlier in the week, is we've seen the Astros pull off trades like this before. Maybe the top end of the trade isn't great, but they're always good about getting some sort of throw in, some sort of a guy that's a bullpen arm, a guy that they maybe were going to release because of the contract, something like that. I mean, you could like a Caleb Ferguson who they end up getting for the
Yeah.
Yankees. If you get this trade and you get some bullpen arm who can eat the fifth or sixth inning when a starter doesn't go deep into the game, instead of having to put in some of the relievers you don't trust, then that makes the trade look a little better.
Yeah, that I mean, if they could have done all their shopping in one deal, I think it would have been better. Now, what they gave up for Caleb Ferguson, like it was some like
cares?
single A catcher.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah, I'm fine with that, but it's just the idea that they trade for Kikuchi. You're not really satisfied that they've solved their starting pitching problem, and then it's like, oh wait, there's still more things on the shopping list.
You mean
This-
Sai Kikuchi?
This probably won't get done.
I mean Ace
Hey.
Kikuchi, Sai Kikuchi. I mean, I think unequivocally starting pitcher problem solved.
Soft.
I mean, yeah, Kikuchi's
You're-
the guy.
Dell and I were talking about the dangers of putting Kikuchi on a pedestal, and I feel like you're doing that right now.
I'm just going to keep throwing out names of being an ace until you
Mhm.
come along with me, because I've tried to get you in the Hunter Brown ace wagon for a while, and you're not willing to go with me. So I'm going to try with you say Kikuchi. I'm
You
just
say
gonna,
Verlander?
yeah. Fromber, can I tempt you on a Fromber ace conversation?
No thanks.
All right. So quickly before to go to break, we're not going to be able to get to all the things we have planned for the Houston Astros, but still, if you have any thoughts, give us a call or text on the HRP listener line at 713-780-3776. Ronel Blanco on the mound tonight. Quickly, any concern what we've seen from Blanco recently? His last 6 starts. I mean, we all know the first half of the season, his ERA was below like 2.5. It was a level that should have been an all-star.
Cyro now.
Cy Ronell, exactly. Ace Ronell. Ronel Blanco, ace, no. Because the last 6 starts, Sean, ERA 446. Not ace stuff. Any concern, and we've also seen coming along with that, a small drop in his velocity. Any concern or maybe like a tiny thing to watch out for tonight and down the stretch with Ronel Blanco with the performance dropping off?
Yeah, that's why I thought it was necessary to get a starter because of what Ronel Blanco's doing. It's pretty clear that he's kind of, I don't want to say like sputtering out this season, but
I mean, he's 6 innings from his previous career high in innings pitched.
and we saw it last year with JP France. We saw it last year with Christian Javier being a full-time starter for the first time in his career. It's hard that first inning or that first season, especially taking on all those innings and being a guy where, last year the Astros needed Christian Javier to take the ball every 5 days. The Astros, the first half of the season, they needed Ronel Blanco to take the ball every 5 days. So they're both put into a position to where they're getting high stress on their high stress innings and a lot more of them than they're used to. And we saw what happened with JP France. We saw what happened with Christian Javier. Ronel Blanco, I don't think you can have very different expectations with how this is going to work out, which is why, when or if the starting pitchers that are hurt get healthy and are able to get added to the rotation, I think you go 6-man just to
I think you have to.
some of these guys' arms a little.
Cam, thoughts on Ronel Blanco?
I mean, I'm not so much concerned with this performance, but I guess at the same time, if I can, I'd say I'm a little concerned with his usage just because I know saying 30 is like, oh, that's not old, but in baseball terms and the fact that it's essentially his first year starting,
Yeah.
all those innings that he's already pitched, that would be a little concerning for me, but I don't think he's going to dive into this slump. So as far as performance, I wouldn't say I'm concerned, but I'm definitely on board with going to
You got to worry
6-man.
about October at least, right? Because,
Yeah.
I mean, as I said earlier, he's 6 innings away from his previous career high. And you see, maybe the problem isn't this year, and maybe because he's a 30-year-old, never was a prospect sort of guy, maybe you don't care about years after this and you just throw him until his arm falls off like an aging running back. But we've seen a historical trend for guys that go more than like 25, 30 innings over their previous high.
Yeah.
The following season can be a disaster. And
Yeah.
maybe they don't care about next year because he's a 30-year-old, never was a prospect, but that's something to watch out for.
And the two guys I mentioned that blew past their limits last year.
Javier, Tommy John.
Yeah. France, I think it was a
shoulder injury, but he's out for the year.
Yeah. So
yeah, exactly.
It's tough.
Right there.
It's tough out there.
Tough out there for these pitchers. All right. That'll do it for the Astros conversation today, but we will take any of your thoughts if you want to give us a call or a text on the HRP listener line, 713-780-3776. When we get back, let's talk about the Houston Texans and some overreactions from the Hall of Fame game on ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5.
Broadcasting live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios, it's the Bullpen on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5. You missed out during the break. Cam very offended about someone the listener said he looked like.
I am not offended. I was just confused.
I think you're claiming racism right now. I don't know. I mean, we once had a producer on the show named Josh Chavans who did a Mount Rushmore +1 of the people the people that other people said he looked like.
Yeah.
Especially some of them, he was very offended. I think he didn't like the J. Cole one. Like that one, I think.
No. He didn't like J. Cole. He didn't. Last year he didn't love the Jalen Brunson comparison.
Yeah, that's
I think,
right.
I think
That's
now
right.
he might feel
Yeah,
differently.
yeah,
about it.
yeah. Jalen Brunson. I think he might like that one
It's a
now.
solid comparison.
Although he's a Knicks fan. So
No, he's a Heat fan.
okay. Sorry. Oh, that's what I meant. Sorry. Yeah. I mean, it's about a Knicks player when he's
Yeah.
a Heat fan. So I don't know how much he'll actually
Probably
like
doesn't
that.
love it.
Nah, probably doesn't love it. But
We'll
yeah.
ask.
Who does Cam Smith look like? 713-780-3776.
YouTube, Twitch. Tell us who Cam looks like.
The more ludicrous, the better. The wrong answers only, please.
Ludicrous.
Yeah,
He looks like ludicrous.
He's gonna pop up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he's not Joe Hendry. There's a deep wrestling reference for you nerds out there. So yeah, ESPN
Thank you.
Radio again, 97.5 and 92.5. Let's talk about the Houston Texans and the Hall of Fame game. Sean, I see a note on here. It says Sean didn't watch. What did I miss? Anything? Not a lot, Sean.
And then I saw that there's 5 bullet points.
I have some. I have some. I mean, we got it.
of things I missed.
We got like 6 minutes to fill. We got to talk about something here, but it's the Hall of Fame game.
Can I just say the names that where I go? I didn't watch. Did I miss anything?
Yes.
Can I just say the names of the people of things that I missed?
Okay.
Xavier Hutchinson,
Right.
Drew Scruggs,
Strong start.
Davis Mills,
Uh-huh.
Cam Akers, who was not on the team. Oh, I forgot Noah Brown. Thank you. And depth at linebacker.
Yeah. In the secondary. Okay. And the secondary. Big time stuff, Sean.
So
Big time stuff.
I did not miss anything. I mainly asked that because I noticed on Thursday night that they definitely started the game. Cannot
They
deny
did.
that
They
they
didn't
started the
finish
game.
it.
They did not finish.
They didn't finish it. I'm glad that they eventually made that decision. I was not watching live because it's the Hall of Fame game. I got to fast forward.
Well, you gotta live it live, as my mom would say.
No, I'm
Not the Hall of Fame.
not the
game.
Hall of Fame.
To be
game.
fair, not
Look,
the, all due respect. No,
I mean,
She
shout
probably
out-
wasn't watching
Shout
that.
out to Dan Campbell. I think I've got grit, but I don't have Hall of Fame game grit. I'm not about that. So I have to have the ability to fast forward. I don't even remember where I was going with this at this point. It doesn't matter. It's
you're
the Hall
gonna
of Fame
fast
game.
forward. You weren't watching
Yeah.
live. They
Because of the
canceled
game
it.
cancellation. Yeah, I saw some talk on Twitter about. I was like, well, every 5 minutes there's a lightning strike, and every lightning strike extends 30 minutes. No word, but the players are in the tunnel. Blah blah blah. It's like it's the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah.
Let's just cancel it. It doesn't matter. What are we going to look back at the stats of this? I think yes, we are because we're looking back at the
I
stats
did.
right now on some of these
Yeah,
players.
let's get some yards per carry.
Oh, I got you.
I'd love how much bleep talk Sean has for the segment. Anyway,
2.6, Sean.
Don't skip ahead. Have integrity for the
Oh,
rundown.
I
Cam
was just
Smith.
being polite answering
Yeah.
his
No,
question.
man,
All right,
that's not cool.
I'm out.
Yeah.
All
All right, Cole Thompson. Xavier Hutchinson looked legit. Look, I am saying this fully through the lens of an overreaction. Okay, so please, grain of salt, everything I say here. All right, back to the bit. Xavier Hutchinson looked legit, but is there a spot available for him? So he actually looked pretty good. Now, obviously, we know the top 3 spots on the rosters for wide receiver go to Diggs, Tank, and Nico. I assume if healthy, Noah Brown is your 4. Although, I mean, he's still dealing with the injury he got in the playoff game. He's still wearing a red jersey. Like, I legit don't know if he's going to be available.
He might be a pupless guy.
Yeah, he might be a pupless guy. And Robert Woods, I think, could still be a salary cap casualty. $5 million. He's a little bit older.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you strike out Noah Brown, who starts on the pupless, you strike off Robert Woods. You got 3 spots. Xavier Hutchinson. I think it's him and Mechie for 1 spot. And then you're looking at Ben Skoranek and who's the other name I'm blanking on here.
Steven Sims,
Yeah, it might be Steve.
I was gonna
Johnny Johnson the third, and Quintez Cephas.
say Cephas.
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 He's a gambler. He's not going to make the roster. I mean, Sims could be in a spot because of his role on special teams as a return guy. But I mean, I'm starting to. I thought Xavier Hutchinson going into this process was the odd man out. But I'm starting to kind of look at the possibility that Hutchinson could be your 5th, 6th guy at wide receiver.
Yeah, I would think that he has an edge over, especially Woods, where if it's even with him, Woods, Mechie for a spot or 2 spots, and who's going to be the odd man out, you would think that being the availability for special teams to be on some special teams units, especially with the new kickoff rule that we got to see a glimpse of.
Very, very mixed reviews on the kickoff rule. Did you see any of the videos of it?
Yes, that's why I didn't watch the Hall of Fame game. I was like, anything that I need to see, it'll come to me. And like the kickoff rule, yeah, I saw the people that weren't that were not for it still not like it after seeing it, which was a shocking development.
The people that had made up their mind before they even saw it.
Yeah, shocking stuff, really. But I would think that when you're talking about your fifth and sixth receiver, at a certain point, you do need some special teams viability there. So I think that's what's ultimately going to be the deciding factor here with getting Hutchinson, Sims a spot on this team, and we'll see about Mechie and Noah Brown and Robert Woods how they figure that out, because I said put Noah Brown on the pup list, but I don't actually know if that's something that they're considering, or maybe you trade one of these guys for like a 5th round pick. Like that might be a move, because I think these guys are Noah Brown and John Mechie and Xavier Hutchinson feel like they're a tad too good just to outright cut without getting something for them.
I do too. Yeah, but I mean, I don't even know
Maybe
if you
not
get a 5th for him. It's probably like a 6-7 swap. It's very minimal, and it's I don't know if that even matters to me. A couple more quick observations. Look, I know it's Davis Mills and he sucks, but Davis Mills actually looked pretty sharp. I mean, look, I obviously he's not he's not a starter.
I know it's Davis Mills and he sucks. ... But he kind of looked legit.
I mean, he did. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like, I think overall he's still Davis Mills, but he looks sharp. I mean, there's something I guess you could say about year 2 in an offense, and about an offense. I mean, legit comment here.
Okay.
This offense, as we've seen in the past with Kubiak, with Kyle Shanahan and others, very QB friendly. They can take a lot of mediocre quarterbacks and make them look really good. And that's kind of my overall point. It's like Bobby Sloak with this offense that came from San Francisco, through Kubiak, through way back
Kyle
Mike Shanahan. This offense can make some average quarterbacks look pretty good. And Davis Mills, for all of the falls we've seen him, made really quick decisions, knew exactly where to go with the ball, and was accurate. So, I mean, I don't think Davis Mills is a starter in the NFL, obviously, but I think he could be a top 3rd backup, and maybe he's not the worst option ever. CJ Stroud gets, maybe he could actually be the guy instead of Case Keenum. I mean, maybe that's the next step, is instead of Case Keenum being the guy if Stroud gets hurt again. I think Davis Mills could come in and not lose you a game. How about that?
I mean, I'm with you on that. And it's like, look at the previous seasons that Davis Mills was here. It was a coaching carousel. Like, it was all over the place. Like, what type of leadership and consistency, did he actually have to become a better quarterback? Now he has that behind him. I think that he could be a really viable backup. I'm not saying I obviously want him. I trust him to do 5 or 6 games. But like last year when CJ missed 1 or 2 games, Davis Mills played okay. So, I mean, I don't think he's a starter either, but I liked what I know it's the Hall of Fame game, but I mean, I liked what I saw.
I was trying to temper my hype for Davis Mills a little bit, because I know how Mills Mafia can get kicked up and try to make something out of nothing. And I do ultimately think this is mostly nothing, but yeah, I think he could be a top half of the league backup, and someone that can play well enough to not lose the game for you if he has to play a game or 2 in place of CJ Stroud.
So he's officially, in your mental depth chart, has he officially passed?
I would put him ahead of Keenum. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I know I'm sitting next to the guy wearing Cougs hat, so I'm sorry to say that.
No, I mean, as much as I love Case Keenum, the quarterback coach,
the quarterback coach.
Yeah, I would much rather have Davis Mills as the backup
quarterback.
Over.
I didn't know we're already putting coach on him. He's still playing.
I feel like that's how they look at him. Like he is. They look at him as like an assistant quarterback coach. Like he is. Yeah. He's all about spreading that wisdom.
I agree with you.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, you're probably right, but I mean, it was him in last year, not Davis Mills. So who knows? All right, one more before we get to break here.
Can't wait.
Cam Akers. I mean, we got to get this for Sean. Sean's been dying to hear about Cam Akers.
Loved him at FSU.
I think there was at least a small train of thought, despite him coming off the Achilles injury last year, since he was taking part in drills and how played in this game. It's like, well, maybe he's someone that's a live dog to possibly be the backup for Joe Mixon. But I think the coaching staff told you by Dameon Pierce being inactive for this start, when Joe Mixon was already out, that, okay, had they had to play a real game today, Dameon Pierce was your starter. So he's your backup. And then Cam Akers went out there and averaged under 3 yards a carry. So obviously extremely small sample size, but unless something drastic happens, I think you're looking at a depth chart at running back that's Mixon 1, Pierce 2, lock it up, guarantee.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure if Akers is on
He might not
if
be.
he's on the team.
He might not be. They owe him nothing at this point.
Yeah, he might be not a straight camp invite, but it might be something where we always hear about teams signing extra quarterbacks just to have more arms. They might have just signed Cam Akers
yeah, 'cause
Joe
Mixon's
Mixon
out.
Joe Mixon isn't practicing. So I don't know. I have very low expectations for Cam Akers.
I mean, it could have been like a competition move, bring him in just to see what you get out of everybody else. But I also feel like Cam Akers, they didn't. If he's on this team, I feel like he's in there for his hands. Like
Nice.
he's not. Like I don't think they brought him in to be that 15 rushing attempts guy. Like it's more the third down guy
No.
because he can catch, and I think he can catch better than Damian Pierce. And obviously, you don't want to overwork Joe Mixon, who is already hurt. So I'm actually kind of on the opposite end. I think Cam Akers actually makes this team.
Really?
Yeah.
So okay, yeah. I mean,
So it would be
it's low stakes. We're talking about the running back 3.
no. Let's really drill down on this.
I was trying to
it'll-
go to break.
It'll be Mixon, Pierce, Akers,
Dare?
or Jordan.
But like why are we keeping Dare? We've seen him
Because
the
he
last
can
like
kick
5
field goals,
years.
Cam.
I was
Wow!
gonna say
Yay!
backup
Okay.
kicker.
Well, great.
Special teams.
Special teams ace.
But like he's been on the
1/3 of the
team for
game.
like half a decade, I feel like, and like he's
no,
the
it's like
same.
2 years. Come on,
There's
now.
no way it's 2 years. It's got to be at least 3 or 4. And then I mean, obviously you can put Gerard Jordan, who they drafted.
Yeah,
I mean, on the
6th round
practice
pick.
squad. Yeah.
Yeah.
so-
Oh, yes. Yeah. Practice squad's fine. I don't think there's really any reason to keep him around as far as an actual running back. All right. We do got to get to break. On the other side, some more Texans talk about what we just mentioned with Joe Mixon. When does he return? There's been an update on his injury. Also want to get into some NFL stuff, like which playoff team from last year will not make the playoffs, and ranking the NFL divisions by their wide receiver talent. That when the bullpen returns on ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5.
You're back inside the bullpen with the producers of ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5. Welcome back into the bullpen here on ESPN Radio. Coming up next segment, we're bringing it back from last week, our NFL training camp hype train. Bringing that back, so get ready for that, Johnny B. We got to get the hype train sound effects going, the drops, because that's really just doing it for the drops. And then coming up at 1:30, of course, is our Mount Rushmore plus one segment. And at 1:15, in between all that, Cam this week has our big question. Last time you asked us questions about big heads. It got very weird. I'm not sure what I'm hoping for today, but it could be interesting. So as teased going into the last break, as we're looking at a big beefy boy about to throw a shot put here. That is a dude right there. Oh man, they cut away from him. That's too bad. Joe Mixon. The idea being what we talked about last segment about Cam Akers being basically just a camp body until Joe Mixon got back. We talked about last week, they had told us, or at least the reports that come out from multiple media members, that it was a hamstring issue for Joe Mixon. That was the issue, and I was concerned because as a fantasy player, like other than season ending, the last thing you want to see pop up for a player of yours is hamstring. Well, apparently it wasn't a hamstring.
Good
or,
news.
I guess, unless it's an additional injury, or this is an Astro situation where they're just going to keep telling us random injuries and never the truth in between. But Joe Mixon, the headline I saw from a couple days ago, he's apparently, quote, making progress in his recovery. Although, as we know, this time of year, everyone is ahead of schedule. Mm-hmm. So the fact that they don't say he's ahead of schedule actually means he's behind schedule. But Mixon apparently is now dealing, or was always dealing with, and the earlier reports were wrong, a quadriceps injury. So they're saying, according to Aaron Wilson, who was the same source that said hamstring, he's apparently making steady progress in his recovery from a minor quadriceps injury, and he's been out now for, I think, just over 2 weeks. So I don't know at what point, I guess this is the question to you guys, like at what point do we, I guess, become concerned that Joe Mixon isn't practicing? Because it's been going on, I believe, just over 2 weeks now. I mean, they haven't even played their first, preseason game that they would normally play outside the Hall of Fame game. Not that I would expect Mixon to play much anyway, but at what point do you actually become concerned that Joe Mixon isn't playing?
On August 20th. No, but roughly about then. I don't know if that's the actual date, but
are you basically saying like the time that would be the third preseason game?
Yeah, like 2.5 weeks before they actually have to play.
Because at some point he's got to ramp it up. Like he's not going out on rehab assignments like a baseball player, but at some point he's got to ramp it up.
And I'm not worried about like the playbook or anything like that. It's all physical, like being able to ramp up to being able to play in an NFL game and not be limited, like snap count limited or anything like that, which, of all the positions for the Texans to be kind of shorthanded on, especially on offense, running backs pretty high on the list where you kind of need your starter there, because we go very quickly into Dameon Pierce mode, which was not a fun mode to be in last year. Pretty fun the year before that. But as far as in position groups least likely able to sustain an injury to the starter, I'd probably put running back up there for the Texans offense. So him being out for another let's just say 2 weeks, that's when it'd be concerning.
Yeah, I'm with Sean. I mean, if he doesn't play that third preseason game even just a little bit, then I'm concerned. But
or if he's not even like practicing by then
yeah, like my concern level right now though is like 5%. Like I'm not bothered by this.
you seem very unbothered by this.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on quickly. So there was an article here a few days ago from CBS Sports predicting which division winners from last season could miss the playoffs going into this year, and it has the Cowboys and the Texans among teams that they could see being a team that misses the playoffs a year after winning the division. When you look at last year's division winners, so you have Ravens, Bills, Texans, Chiefs, obviously. Then over on the NFC, you have Cowboys, Lions, Buccaneers, and 49ers. Of those teams, I mean, obviously we're probably striking out the 49ers and the Chiefs right away. But of those teams, the 6 remaining, then who would you see as the most likely to go from division winner to missing the playoffs?
I mean, the AFC the AFC is tough because there's just so many teams that are probably going to be in the mix, or that at least could be in the mix. So you kind of have to choose a team in the AFC, unless you think like, actually the Bucks just stink, or
I
something
mean, that
like
is
that.
the easiest to go because they
Yeah.
were 9-8 and they tied in
But
their own
then-
division.
But then who do you have
Right.
jumping up and
Because they
catching
could go 8-9 this year and potentially
And-
win the division.
and,
Yeah.
or make the wild card? Like,
Yeah. True.
So
True.
so there's a little bit of that going on. So I think I'll go, and this is something we've talked about a little bit in the kind of lead up to the season at these kind of overarching NFL stuff, is the the AFC East, I think is very interesting because all the 3 teams that we expect to compete in that division, I can see both winning 12 games and also missing the playoffs,
Same.
with the Jets, Dolphins, and Bills. So just because in my head, there's a 33% chance that they just absolutely fall on their face, or the 2 other teams in the division are better than them. At a certain point, if 2 teams in your own division are better than you, you do not have a good chance of making the playoffs just by math, just how the math works if you have to play these teams. So I'm going to go with the Bills. I don't feel great about it. I wouldn't be surprised if they win the division, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they miss the playoffs.
Yeah, Bills are one of the 2 teams I consider because, like this other team I'm about to say, and I'll go the opposite
Texans?
direction. Sorry.
The Texans?
No. The other team would be the Cowboys because in both cases they did a lot of losing from their roster in the offseason without adding basically anything. I believe, no joke, legit, the Cowboys spent $9 million on their roster in the offseason. That's it. $9 million from a team where Jerry Jones told us they were all in. Which obviously we take things that Jerry Jones says with a grain of salt because he's a crazy old man. But still, I mean, you spend $9 million on your roster in the offseason. Your running back room is in shambles. You got a bunch of players who are going to be disgruntled with their contract with CD and Micah Parsons and Dak Prescott, who that might get into their train of thought and affect them this season while they're worried about their next contract. Plus, you got I would expect Washington to get a little bit better with hopefully getting their quarterback of the future with Jaden Daniels. I think the Eagles are going to take a step back forward now with they actually made some changes with their coordinators, especially getting Kellen Moore there in town. So I could see the Cowboys, being a team that goes from, what are they, 12 wins last year? To 7-8 wins and missing the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm tied with Dallas and Tampa Bay. I think it's easy for Tampa Bay because that division is so mid, and last year they had to finish, I think, like 4-2 and 5 or 5-1 just to win the division and make the playoffs. And now Baker has a whole new starting center.
And he lost Dave Canales.
Yeah, new offensive coordinator. So I can see New Orleans taking over that spot. And then as far as Dallas,
that's the problem with me. The NFC South is it's just, I mean, yeah, Tampa's mid, but so is the rest of the division. I know,
but New Orleans was the same record.
I know, but are you going to bet on
Derek Carr?
Yeah, you're going to bet. I was trying to think of the coach's name, Allen. I couldn't remember Dennis Allen. Thank you. I couldn't remember his first name, but like as mid as Tampa Bay, yeah, it's Dennis Allen. As mid as Tampa Bay is, I'm not going to bet on Derek Carr and Dennis Allen. I mean, I know their defense is pretty good. Kamara's 1,000 years old. They only got one wide receiver in Chris Olave.
I would think the Falcons are the favorites to win the division.
Yeah. If I was gonna predict that division right now, I would probably say the Falcons, assuming Kirk Cousins is. But
I mean, it's a carousel of a division. That's why I feel like it's easy to say that. Yeah. It's easy to be like, oh, Tampa Bay is not going to run it back.
I get it.
And then, kind of to your point with Dallas, they didn't. What did they do in the offseason?
Nothing. They spent $9 million.
They didn't draft a running back. They let Pollard go, who I'm not. Was going to save the franchise, but like they didn't address the running back situation.
Yeah,
they
lost like somebody else when he goes out the door.
Yeah, they lost.
They did. They brought back Zeke Elliott.
What are we talking about?
Oh my God, Zeke Elliott's all that.
I think fantasy wise, he's going to do better than we think. And then they also lost 2 offensive linemen, so it's just kind of like I definitely see Dallas not winning that division.
I think the Cowboys will take a step back. They won't win 12 games this year. I will say though, they'll have 4 games against the Commanders and against the Giants. That helps them make the playoffs.
Yeah,
that definitely helps them on their quest to make the playoffs.
After binge watching the Hard Knocks offseason, I'm not betting high on the Giants. I don't know. That didn't inspire
You weren't
much
impressed? Weren't
No, I
impressed?
wasn't. I wasn't impressed. I
Yeah.
wasn't impressed. Other than Dayball really likes cigars, I guess. Cool. But yeah, no, I was not impressed. I do think Jaden Daniels can make a difference because they've actually got some weapons there in Washington where if he
Yeah.
is a competent quarterback, because Sam Howell was not. Sam Howell was a disaster and reportedly is in Seattle right now behind Geno. That I think Washington could take a step up, but I am completely out on
This is something
G-Man.
I think we talked about this. I think we talked about this when we were at LaBerge last month, or maybe no, in June.
Yeah, it was June.
About teams that could go worst to first.
Oh, sure.
Of all the teams, I can kind of see the Commanders.
Yeah,
it's when you really talk out that division, and you're
if Philly is who they were when they went 1-5 down the stretch.
Yeah, and
we already kind of think Dallas is taking a step back, and the Giants suck.
They love cigars.
It was my big takeaway.
You could talk yourself into it. Again, I'm not betting on it. I literally did not put money on it, even though we talked about putting money on it. I decided not to. But that is something to keep an eye on in the NFC East.
Definitely. All right, ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5. We got to get out because on the other side of the break, and it's time for the hype train. Don't go anywhere. Be right back.
Broadcasting live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios, it's the Bullpen on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
All right, welcome back into the bullpen. ESPN Radio 97.5 and 925. It's time to get hyped, Sean, because we don't just get hyped.
We stay hyped.
Oh, I caught you off guard there a little bit, Sean. You're not ready for this level of hype. Cam, are you ready for this level of hype?
Yes.
All right, Cam. Let's start off in the Texans' own division, the AFC South. As we know, DeAndre Hopkins is aligned to miss 4 to 6 weeks with a knee issue, and apparently for Treylon Burks, opportunity knocks. They're saying he could be in line for first-team reps alongside Calvin Ridley and Tyler Boyd. Guys, Treylon Burks, he's been a bust, but does he matter now?
He only matters because they need somebody to replace DeAndre Hopkins. That's not a, like a
That's
hype.
not enough hype, bro.
That's why I'm not
up the hype.
Oh, I'm not hyping him.
Oh,
I'm not on the Burks bandwagon. I'm just saying he's going to get his looks only because DeAndre's not there.
he's not jumping on board.
I'd like to
Johnny.
get off now.
That's tragic. Sean?
I'm also not on the Treylon Burks
Oh,
hype
Get
train.
off my train!
Get off this hype train. The two in this little report where it does say opportunity knocks.
I like that the very next blurb says Treylon Burks to be contributor in special teams.
Yes.
There's a reason why they brought in Ridley and Tyler Boyd.
I was going to say
Yeah,
it ends with Burks would be in line to see added opportunities alongside fellow wide receivers Calvin Ridley and Tyler Boyd. So 2 wide receivers that are way better than him. Cool. Got it. I think
don't want the wide receiver 3 for Will Levis?
I think opportunity knocks for those 2 guys. I don't know if opportunity knocks for Treylon.
All right, I can't sell it. I'm not jumping. Let me up. All right, next up, TJ Hawkinson. What do we know about this time of year, guys? Everyone is
Ahead of schedule.
ahead of schedule. Damn right. Apparently, according to who is this from? Which jabroni is this? Joe Nelson from Sports Illustrated, who no longer actually makes issues. I don't even know if they're a real
No
thing anymore.
offense, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, you work for a fake publication, but
All right.
anyway, TJ Hawkinson apparently ahead of schedule in his recovery. Speaking Friday, that is what head coach Kevin O'Connell said. Quote is, "Every time I see him working on the side field, it becomes awfully tempting to ... demand answers. I want to be able to start implementing him maybe off the pup list and then get him a little bit more involved and work on the field." I mean, he tore his ACL in November. I don't know. Like, are you drafting? I mean, TJ Hawkinson, when healthy, is a top fantasy contributor, but I can't imagine touching him in drafts right now because I think he's starting on the pup and he's probably not helping you till late October.
Yeah, I don't know what the threshold to keep a guy on the pup and keep a roster spot open for a backup tight end, because you're basically going to be starting a backup tight end.
Yeah,
for the first
if
6
your league
weeks.
doesn't have IR spots, then you're definitely out.
Yeah, so if you have an I will say, if you have an IR spot, I'm in on Hawkinson.
There we
I'm
go.
on the hype train.
Yeah, IR spot I am completely into, Johnny.
It's buying low.
Yeah, because like you said, like you can take Hawkinson and some random tight end that can help you out the first 4
just
weeks
sign
at the
him
end
after
of
the
your draft.
Yeah.
And now you've got, when he returns, and hopefully mid-October, you've got a top 5 tight end that can really jumpstart your team. So we're both in. Cam, you in?
I'm in, and a lot for the same things that y'all are saying, even an IR spot or kind of as like that second tight end that you take in your fantasy draft. Like, I mean, if you get him in like that 8th or 9th round, 10th round, and just have him sit for 4 weeks, I'm good with it.
Yeah, I don't think I could pull the trigger if I don't have an IR spot, but I would definitely be on board if you do. All right, next piece of hype from Dan Graziano of ESPN. He's apparently saying the number 2 receiver for the Ravens could be tight end Isaiah Likely. Quote, "They want me to be able to go everywhere, whether it's in the backfield, in line, in the slot, out wide, or whatever. Being that chess piece that can move around, that his source, Dan Graziano, is Isaiah Likely." So are we buying the hype straight from Isaiah Likely, straight from the man himself, that no, it's not Zay Flowers, no, it's not Rashad Bateman, who we talked about last week. The number 2 wide receiver for Lamar Jackson is Isaiah Likely. We buying the hype?
No.
Get off my train!
No, can't do it. Can't do it with Isaiah Likely. I not to this level. I will say, not to wide receiver number 2 level. I think he can be a fine tight end, because there's 6 good tight ends in the
Right.
NFL.
Yeah.
I think, one team in your league is going to start Isaiah Likely every week, and they're not going to be thrilled. But
No.
he's definitely not going to be the number 2 receiver for the Ravens.
Cam?
I mean, I like him, but no, he's not going to be number 2.
I'd like to get
even
off
even if
now.
Mark Andrews gets hurt again,
That changes things. That changes things,
he's
though.
still not going to be number 2.
He's the number 2 tight end on the team. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Yeah. No. Well, again,
No offense.
Dan Graziano's source was Isaiah Likely, so it's a little bit self-serving there, to say the least. All right, moving on. Next one, the Giants don't regret signing Daniel Jones. I mentioned having watched the Giants Hard Knocks while I was out sick yesterday. This is according to New York Giants co-owner John Mara, says he doesn't have any regrets about signing quarterback Daniel Jones, even if the team flirted with finding his potential replacement this offseason. Because we see in the episode, they are very upfront. It's like, well, if Caleb or Jaden, or I think even Drake May, from the way they were talking, if they had gotten there obviously to 6, but I think they were also in talks with Arizona about trading up. I think
To
they had
4.
to 4, and I think they had a talk with the Chargers as well. They were very interested in the quarterback. So, I mean, are you buying the hype? Do Brian Daboll and the GM Joe Shane and John Mara have zero regrets about giving Daniel Jones $140 million? Zero regrets, Sean.
Okay. Do I think the Giants have 0 regrets?
Yes,
Or
that's what he's saying. The
Okay.
owner of the team himself says
I thought this
zero
was. I
regrets.
thought this was more of the fantasy outlook.
No.
I think John Mara definitely regrets signing him to this contract. I am not on the hype train.
I'd like to get off now.
Yeah,
I think the Giants would like to get off.
Yeah,
him,
I
too.
think they told us on Hard Knocks. I watched it yesterday. They wanted to be
I
off
was,
the Daniel.
I was
out of
getting
the Daniel
ready
Jones
to
business.
make a case why I'm on the Daniel hype.
Okay, make it.
hype train,
Why do you like him in fantasy?
Because he runs a lot, and
Vanilla Vic.
yeah, and they're not married to him long term, so they're
They don't mind abusing him.
they'll run him into the ground. That's my entire case was, hey, maybe if you're in 2 quarterback league or something.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up, because in reading this article, this is how much I am off the hype train of him. While the 27-year-old former first-round pick has gotten the vote of confidence, he'll need to overcome his shortcomings as a passer to be a viable fantasy option in a 2-quarterback league.
But he runs.
Yeah,
Vanilla Vic,
he
baby.
runs.
But
Fantasy scoring is broken. If you run, it doesn't matter.
yeah,
if
if
you
he
suck.
gets 60 yards a game, that's an extra
Doesn't
6
matter.
points.
Yeah.
not if your touchdown to interception ratio
Doesn't
is
matter.
like 2 to
It's
5.
negative.
If you run for 60 yards a game, it almost does not matter what you do as a passer.
I
It
mean, I
really
get that,
doesn't.
because I had Daniel Jones as like a backup 2 years ago, but
And he was fine.
still,
Yeah.
maybe he was good as
In
a
fantasy,
backup.
yeah, in fantasy, yeah, he was fine. I do like it, much like the follow up thing on Treylon Burks. The very previous article for Daniel Jones says Daniel Jones Giants offense have brutal day Tuesday.
Hey,
yeah,
they-
but zero regrets.
The Texans have brutal days on offense too during.
That's
training.
true. I'm not going to read this whole thing. I mostly wanted to read this because what do we know about the NFL during this time
Not
of year?
for long.
Well, yes, that is. Thank you, Sean. Also, the no fun league, if we're going to go with all the cliches. But we know 2 things about the NFL this time of year, and this applies to Corey Dillon. And this blurb was in a Marshawn Lloyd conversation. But we know 2 things: people are ahead of schedule, and people are in the best shape of their life. And according to the Packers head coach, AJ Dillon is the best shape of his life, that according to Matt LaFleur. So yeah, I don't care. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but we'll go ahead and move on. I just want to make sure that we got in the best shape of his life conversation.
good.
All right,
Good
let's
to know.
get in a couple of things for Cam here, the Chargers fan, because we've been dunking on Quentin Johnson quite a bit. So what the hell? Another opportunity to dunk on Quentin Johnson. Apparently, Josh Palmer locked in with the starters, and Ladd McConkey working with starters consistently. And the reports is DJ Chark has been the 3rd wide receiver at 11 personnel, according to Daniel Popper of The Athletic. Are we buying in that Quentin Johnson is wide receiver 4 or less?
Hell yes, I'm buying into it.
Oh my
Yes.
God!
And I sent y'all a video last week of him. He cannot catch anything that is
Is that a
thrown.
problem?
Oh, yes. He cannot catch anything thrown over his head. And it's just kind of like you were brought in for the deep route, and you're not doing it. So, yes, I think it's well known that I am not a QJ fan. So, yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
see-
I don't think he needs a nickname, guys.
He doesn't.
I
He
think-
doesn't
I think-
deserve one.
I think Quentin Johnson works just fine.
Yeah.
right now.
You don't get a nickname,
His
sir.
government name.
Government name. All right.
I do. Can I?
Oh,
can
my
I-
bad. Yeah. Get your thoughts here and on huge.
Oh, I'm on the Lad McConkey hype train.
Oh, you're on the Latin. Okay. So where?
My only issue with Lad McConkey is that Justin Herbert has plantar fasciitis.
Yeah.
That's
what's
my
up with-
only issue.
what's
Is
up with your
that the
quarterback?
quarterback might be hurt.
What's up with your quarterback, Cam?
That was really depressing to hear that. Because last year
It's
he was
August 3rd.
last year he was able to fight through some injuries and have a productive season, but the plantar injury, I mean, that is something that could literally linger all season.
Yeah.
And
I think
once
a lot
again,
of-
Chargers, every year it's injuries. Every year.
And I think a lot of the hope from him from a fantasy perspective this year was because of his size, because he's now teamed with was it a hard dog and Giro there with the running style that they bring to the table, that he could actually be a more of a running quarterback. We've seen him have seasons over 300 yards as a rusher.
Mhm.
He's not going to be Josh Allen, but he's the same size as Josh Allen. He could be a guy that runs for like 405 touchdowns on the ground, and that immediately stabilizes his fantasy production,
Yeah, I mean,
even if the receivers are downgrade.
he's so big that it, like, when he runs, it doesn't look like he's fast, but he's got such quick, long strides that like he really covers ground fast. But that's almost thrown out the window now. So
Yeah, probably not running a whole lot with the plantar fasciitis. All right, one more just because the quote is so ridiculous, and I guess I'm giving away my thought on it. But the headline is kind of misleading to when you go into the quote from John Harbaugh, the coach of the Ravens. But Justice Hill in line for key complementary role. Coach John Harbaugh noted Thursday that Hill will maintain a valuable role in the backfield rotation behind Derrick Henry. Clifton Brown of the Ravens official site reports, quote, he is a high caliber running back, so to have him alongside Derrick, along with the young guys, it's really great. Justice Hill, high caliber running back, Sean Mapes, are you buying that hype?
How many good
High caliber?
How many good backup running backs did Derrick Henry have at his time in Tennessee?
I mean, Tajay was decent, I guess.
Tajay was decent, I guess. No, I'm not on the hype train for Justice Hill. We have 1 year of Tajay was decent, I guess.
Yeah, that's basically it. Cam?
So I'm not on the hype train in a sense because he's behind Derrick Henry, but I do think Justice Hill is an actual nice complimentary backup. He had a pretty decent season last year in the time that he played,
he's
but
a perfectly fine.
that's the problem.
running
He's
back.
playing behind Derrick Henry now, who is never hurt. It seems.
I'm trying to
So,
pull up his player page. Like, I honestly don't know if he's ever been good.
Justice Hill.
Yeah. Okay. Actually,
last
no.
year-
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I stand corrected. His last 3 seasons has played. I mean, obviously the attempts is low, but his yards per carry were 4.6, 5.3, and 5. So
Yeah,
he's
fine.
actually
He's fine.
he's been fine. But his previous high in carries, and again he's behind Derrick Henry, who they're going to run into the ground. His best ever season as far as rushing attempts in a season is 84.
Sounds about
So
right.
completely irrelevant
Sounds
for
about
fantasy. All right, we got to get out because on the other side of the break is the big question this week, brought to us, of course, by Cam Smith. Hopefully we don't have anything about big heads and little heads or whatever the hell Cam talked about last time. That'll be back when the bullpen returns, ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5.
Broadcasting live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios, it's the Bullpen on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5. Welcome back into the Bullpen. Sean Mapes, Cam Smith, and myself, Brian McDonald. If you want to give us a call or a text on the HRMP listener line, weigh in on anything we talked about in the hype train, or if you want to respond to the Cam's big question here, you can give us a ring or a text at 713-780-3776. Again, on the HRMP listener line. That like 0979 who just texted us on the text line, quote, "Y'all are awfully giggly." I guess he's referring to the hype train. I mean, Belmer, well, you're not on the microphone right now, but AJ, did you find us to be very giggly during the last segment?
Oh, I mean, y'all just having fun. So,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't
exactly.
know. I just
AJ
hating
gets it.
probably,
Yeah.
It's the weekend.
We're just having, yeah.
Sorry,
Bro.
So we're having fun on the weekend.
I will not apologize for giggling as I just giggled. All right. Big question, Cam. What do you got for us, sir?
Okay. So this is kind of like a three-part into one. Obviously, there's a lot of big names in Houston sports with contracts coming up. So what I present to you is I do believe Sangoon, Tucker, and Stroud all have 2 years left on their initial contract. So would you pick each one of those teams guaranteed winning at least one more championship in the next 2 years, but not re-signing these guys? Or would you rather take the gamble and be able to at least extend each of these guys for one more larger contract and possibly have more championships?
How many titles are we guaranteeing if they walk?
Each one of these players and teams is guaranteed one in the next
One each?
One each in the next
Before
2
they
years.
leave?
Yeah. Because they each have 2 years left on their contract.
Well, Stroud has more than two.
Does he have three?
Well, he as a first round pick, you have 4 years plus the 5th-year option. He's only played one season, so
he's got 3 years.
3 year, well,
At
plus
least.
the year
3
option.
and an
But yeah,
Okay.
they wouldn't let him. Yeah, they would definitely offer that to him if they didn't come to a long term agreement. Man, that's like the only one I'm struggling with. Like the Rockets and the Astros, it's an easy answer. Give me the title. Like I don't think the impact of a Şengün or a Tucker over that roster is big enough to not take the guarantee of the one title. The one I'm struggling with is the Texans, because I feel like if I pass on the guarantee of the one and get CJ here on some sort of Mahomes 10-year deal, I mean, they could win. I think they could win two. I mean, I mean, obviously it's a risk because you're taking the non-guarantee. So I have to answer these as a whole, though. I can't answer them individually.
It was as a whole question.
Okay. I'll stick with the how the question was asked. I will take the guarantee. So I will say goodbye to Stroud, to Tucker, and to Şengün, and take the guarantee of one title each, and then wave goodbye.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny because the hard one for me, as far as potential future championships lost, is the Astros.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, if you just give them. Oh, it's also because Tucker's going to sign like a 12-year contract, because that's
True.
what all these guys signed. So you're just
True.
signing for the rest of his
Yeah,
career.
you would get him for longer than the Texans would get Stroud.
Yeah. So that's the only one where and the Stroud one too. It's a little bit of what you're looking for. It's like, do you want just to know? Because part of it's like just knowing every year that you have a franchise quarterback must be a great feeling.
Yeah, like if you know you have a Stroud, you feel like you're more in a title window than you do if you know you have a Tucker. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
not to be completely obvious, but quarterback greater sign right fielder.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Does that track for you, Sean? I think that tracks.
I'll think about it. No, but yeah, I obviously I understand what you're saying there, but I think that's more of a Astros. I mean, maybe the long-term Astros not as strong as we thought it once was. Maybe I'm doing some little Jeff Luhnow thinking as opposed to Dana Brown thinking. So, yeah, maybe the answer is just take the 3 championships the next 2 years.
How can you walk away from 3 titles?
Especially Texans haven't won a title. Astros, I guess that not a good example.
No.
They win every 3 years anyway.
Rockets haven't won one.
Yeah.
Well, since you weren't even born yet,
Yes.
when they last won a title.
Yes.
So, I mean, obviously, and AJ wasn't born either when the Rockets last
His
won a
parents
title.
weren't even born when.
Which of these options would you take, AJ? The title guarantee or re-signing Tucker, Şengün, and C.J. Stroud?
Well, I'll say this. I'm not a fan of the Texans or the other two teams I am. Y'all could probably guess my favorite football team, but I'd probably say a guarantee because, I mean, you want to win ultimately.
Well, I see. I can't guess. Now Cam has a guess. He's saying
Oh,
Cowboys.
he already knows. I mean,
Oh, is it Cowboys?
but I'm not
All
delusional.
right,
I'm
all
not
right,
delu-
turn off your mic.
No,
that'll do it.
I know,
I'm not
I-
delusional, though.
I'm gonna stick up for AJ here.
Thank you.
I think get ready. I think the only Cowboys fans that are acceptable in any way are the ones that are like my age or younger because AJ has not seen a
Right.
a
They're-
single
you know
championship.
they're not
Or
bandwagon.
conference
He is
championship.
not
You know
bandwagon
they're not
jack.
bandwagon,
If he
right.
wanted a bandwagon, he'd be a Patriots fan.
Right. That's a good point.
That's true.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know they're not bandwagon.
He
if
has
they're-
gotten
if they're 22
zero
years old.
enjoyment out of being a Cowboys fan for his entire life.
Green Bay that game was so disgusting, dog.
Yeah,
Oh
you
my
were
gosh.
born what 2002?
Yeah.
His,
And the Cowboys won their last title in 95. 95?
his first memory might be Tony Romo dropping the snap against the
I was
Seattle
gonna say that or
Seahawks.
Des Bryant not catching it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was like in 7th grade when that catch happened. In Green
Yeah.
Bay,
The Cowboys get dunked on every year for his
Yeah,
entire
the Aaron
life.
Rodgers,
Like,
the Aaron Rodgers comeback.
yeah,
Des sliding down in bounds when oh man, yeah. I will. You know what? I will second the giving AJ credit here because that's not been an easy road as a Cowboys fan who wasn't around for the titles.
resign Dak or
Ooh.
win a title this year or walk. Dak
Ooh,
walks.
I haven't seen them win the title. So I mean, they can win the title if they sign CD and then sign Micah. You know, they can have them.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Now he's
I
getting
forgot
greedy.
they
Now
have
he's
so
getting
many
greedy.
guys that they need to sign that they can
Exactly.
you
Yeah,
can work
definitely-
your
you
way
definitely
around
take
this.
that title and let Dak walk
Yeah.
for sure.
All right, we got to get out because the other side of the break, it is our award-winning, groundbreaking, sports radio landscape-changing segment, Mount Rushmore Plus One, with the bullpen returns on ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5. Welcome into the best part of your weekend, Houston. That's on ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5. The Bullpen here with Sean Mapes, Cam Smith, myself, Brian McDonald, AJ, and John Belmer behind the glass. It is time. It is the time for the award-winning segment Mount Rushmore Plus One. And because I have some audio here to set up my Mount Rushmore Plus One, which is, I would say, uncharted territory. I don't know if you've played much audio here on Mount Rushmore Plus One. But I'll go ahead and go first. This audio is courtesy of the Raw Room podcast, which features like 3 or 4 ex-NFL players. But Brandon Jacobs, former running back for the Giants, I don't know if he played anywhere else. I remember as a Giant. He was on this podcast talking about possibly doing a little bit of Colombian booger sugar before a game in high school and how he just went off, and I guess it enhanced his performance. Let's hear that audio, EJ.
Hold up. He did a line of cocaine before a game in high school.
I did, absolutely. It was one of my homeboys that graduated the year before me. I was walking into the weight room. He was like, "Hey, guess what I got? What you got?" I got that white girl. I'm like, "Oh, for real? You want to try it?" I'm like, "Yeah, you try it."
Man said, I'm a dibbling dabber.
Yeah.
What game was it? Right. I was trying to what's the game?
338, 4 touchdowns. Killed it. I destroyed it. I destroyed it. It was easy. I felt like I was the only one out there. And look, I ain't never did it again. I should have did it again.
It's risky business, but 338.
OTD, yeah.
Bro, imagine trying to tackle this in high school. Bro.
Imagine trying to tackle this cocaine. What are you talking about? Come on.
So my Mount Rushmore Plus One is playing off the end there. Running backs I wouldn't want to tackle while they're on cocaine.
Oh.
Like Brandon Jacobs, who went, apparently, as you heard in this video, apparently coked up in high school, went for 338 and 4 touchdowns. Good Lord.
He's a massive man.
He is a
not
massive
on
man.
Cocaine.
Are you about to fact check this? Because it does sound a little unbelievable. 338?
No, that part sounds believable. I would just like to know his game averages, because I imagine every game he's running for 250.
He's Brandon Jacobs.
What are you talking about?
I mean, before the guy says imagine. I mean, what do you mean? Imagine trying to tackle him on cocaine. I mean, the original point was fine. Like, yeah, imagine just trying to tackle him regular. He's a massive man. Yeah. You got some high school DB who's Paul Gallant size trying to tackle. I mean, that was a shot, but not really a shot. But still, like, you got some guy that's like 5'10", $180, trying to bring down Brandon Jacobs. No chance.
I was 5'4", 125 playing safety.
Didn't you say you went up against Josh Gordon or something?
Yeah, I went for receiver, but I almost got destroyed by a Madison running back who was like 6'2", 230.
Wasn't Vince Young?
It was not Vince Young. I don't remember actually, because
like I can't imagine.
I got concussed.
Cam, take this with no disrespect, but I can't imagine you trying to bring down Brandon Jacobs.
Low man wins.
You just gotta throw yourself at him like a cannonball, just roll into him.
I would just have to launch myself at his ankles and just hope to God that I untied his shoe and tripped him.
Or just hope that he jumps over you.
Yeah,
honestly.
really.
You're not going to tackle him.
Then it's the next guy's problem. Yeah. Go into business for yourself there, Cam. Yeah. All right, so these are the running backs I don't want to imagine trying to tackle if they are enhanced by cocaine. Let's start off in the city of Houston. We've seen this man in the highlight videos from the 70s running through tackles while people are ripping his jersey off, and he was sober when he did that. Hook him, but can you imagine trying to tackle Earl Campbell on cocaine? No. I will business decision that, and he can score the touchdown. I will allow that. I will give that to him. So that would be number one on my list. Someone who betrayed the state of Texas, went to Oklahoma, but who ran angry and didn't often look to miss tackles, ran through them. Adrian Peterson. I mean, that guy built like a Greek god.
He falls into the Brandon Jacobs of like, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. No, even if he's sober,
he could be asleep. I don't think I could tackle him. Like, what are we talking about?
Next up on the list for me of running backs I wouldn't want to try to tackle if they're enhanced by cocaine, like Brandon Jacobs. Someone who has the thighs of a Greek god. Maurice Jones-Drew was built like I don't even know. What's the term? Like a brick house? I can't remember the term, but the dude.
S-house.
Yeah, there we go. That's the term I'm trying to think of. But the dude just had muscles on muscles on muscles on muscles. And again, he's sober. I'm not trying to imagine tackling him on cocaine. You're noticing a trend. These are big, bruising running backs. But number 5 is going to be a quick guy.
Number 5 is going to be a quick guy.
Yeah, number 5 is a quick guy. But I'm going to stay with some bruisers here real quick. We talked about, can you imagine trying to tackle Brandon Jacobs in high school? Can you imagine trying to tackle Derrick Henry in high school? I'm not trying to tackle.
Who
Yeah.
already averaged like 300 yards a game.
Yeah. Like,
I've seen the
now
YouTube
he's on
videos.
cocaine.
I've seen the YouTube videos.
Yeah.
It seemed hard.
Yeah. We saw, who was it? I can't remember the DB's name that he stiff armed into the next
Earl
universe. What was it?
It was Earl
Oh, it was
Thomas.
Earl Thomas. Took him. But yeah, I can't imagine trying to tackle Derrick Henry full head of steam in a full head of cocaine. That would not go well for
You know,
him.
Marshawn Lynch used to take a shot and a half of Henny before each game.
I don't even know if that would be a performance enhancer though. He's probably doing the defender
No, just
a
loosen
favor.
that up. Just loosen that up.
All right. So last one on the list is a speedy guy. This guy was someone that Gus Johnson once said had running away from the cop speed, and that was sober. That was, I believe, in a season where he became CJ2K. Chris Johnson was probably the fastest man alive. I believe he had the record that Xavier Worthy broke at the combine with the 40 time. The dude was already the fastest man in the world as far as football players. And now you're going to give him cocaine, make him even faster? No, I don't want any part of trying to tackle Chris Johnson when he's running Usain Bolt levels because he's hopped up on cocaine.
Belmer and I were talking about this before the show.
Running backs on cocaine?
Yes. I do feel like, or just playing on cocaine. I do feel like you have a good chance of having your heart explode.
Okay.
If you're not in high school, if you're not high school Brandon Jacobs, because I don't think Brandon Jacobs was trying that hard in high school. I'll just say that.
He didn't have to. He didn't have to.
But I think if you're playing an NFL game and you're like 26, like I think your heart just explodes.
It might, man. Chris Johnson.
You A-train yourself.
Oh, shout out to the boys. All right. Cam, you're next up. You're Mount Rushmore +1 this week, sir.
Terrific. So mine comes from the fact that I was.
That didn't sound very enthusiastic.
I know.
I'm not sure you're ready to go.
Yeah, it's a lot safer.
Terrific.
It's a lot safer than last week.
Oh well, that's a low bar to clear.
So I've been rewatching Game of Thrones. So obviously Renaissance time. So it brought me back to thinking about the Renaissance Festival.
It's not Renaissance times. It's
okay. Maybe not Renaissance times, but I mean, like,
have you been to with dragons?
The olden days.
The olden days.
With dragons.
Medieval.
Olden days without dragons, basically.
He's gonna get medieval on that.
It got me to thinking of the one time a couple years ago that I actually stayed the night and all the bizarre, crazy things that happen after 10 o'clock there. So the first one.
Wait, hold on. Would these be the demon hours?
This is
definitely demon time for some of these
Did I use that right, AJ? I was close. I was close.
You got close.
I got close.
You were close.
All right, I'll take that. Thank you.
So the first one was giant naked Jenga.
What is Jenga? Oh wait,
Jenga?
the game. People are playing this naked?
Yes.
I thought you were saying this like a dude named Jenga that was running around
No,
naked.
they were literally playing giant Jenga naked. Like it wasn't just 2-3 people. It was literally a group of people.
Completely naked. Like they didn't
Completely
have bottoms
naked.
on. Okay.
Completely naked. I'm telling you, after hours there, it's crazy.
That's one of those things where like some people's gut reaction might be like, "Oh, cool," but like the people that would play Jenga naked at the Renaissance Festival, I don't know if you really want to see it.
There you go.
There you go. Okay.
That's
right.
kind of how
Good
it was.
scouting report.
Yeah.
No. The next one was a fire pit dancing where they would drink their mead and then dance around and like spit it into the
Sounds
fire.
like Burning Man.
Yeah, that one is like okay,
that's
like
fine.
it's not crazy, but like you still
don't
don't see it too often.
I mean, it's cultish.
It is. That's what.
Yeah.
The swingers buffet tent.
Huh.
So there was a tent that had a pretty nice little spread of food.
This is in the Woodlands or Conroe?
Tomball.
Tomball?
I think is where
Okay.
it's out there.
Wow.
It's been a few years, so I don't know if this
Yeah,
still
naked
goes.
Jenga and swingers tents.
I don't know if this still goes
Okay.
down, but yeah, and the thing was
Down
is
on the ball.
I'm obviously an avid fan of food, so I was really excited to hear that there was a tent with a buffet. However, you
It
can
was in
only
the swingers.
you can only enter and stay if you brought somebody with you to swing, and I
That makes
was
a
not
good
going
rule.
to do that.
Good rule.
So
Well, go meet someone, Cam. You got out.
there's
Meet someone in the daytime.
Start recruiting.
the people that stay the night. There was nobody that caught my eye. No,
Food wasn't good enough to take one for the team.
not that night, man.
Okay.
The next one, and I got to be careful with this one because I don't want to offend anybody.
Uh-oh.
Little people stripping.
Oh,
There was
yeah.
there was
Yeah.
female.
That was good.
You were PC.
Yeah, there
You
was
were
good.
PC.
There was little people female strippers.
I did not know the Renaissance Festival was this wild.
Yes, it was.
Is this
back
Hold on? Are you sure you're at the Renaissance Festival?
Yeah,
you didn't take,
100%,
you didn't take a
because
wrong
no,
turn?
it was the last time I went because I was like, I've had enough for a few years.
So the
How much
daytime was normal.
Daytime is PG. Nighttime after
The
10,
freaks come out.
the freaks come out.
Demon
Now,
time.
granted, again, this was like
Don't point at him when you say it.
I know that was really weird. I don't know why I pointed.
this
Yeah.
was 3 years ago,
Demon, I know.
so it could have changed over the last few years.
They clean it up. Yeah.
And then the
Doubt
last
it.
one, which is it's pretty clean. I mean, you see this a lot of places, but they chugging of big old gallons of mead, and then just getting bee slapped by somebody.
Like the slap fights that you see on like TNT, like
Yeah.
they're doing that
Well, like-
after they chug a gallon of mead.
Yes. Or like you'll see like videos at bars, and it'd be like a bartender gives a guy a shot, and then she just slaps the bejesus out of him.
Yeah.
It's like that, except for they're chugging a big old thing of mead and then just getting completely
Is it-
annihilated with a slap.
Is it like a competition, or is it just a?
Like, who can
or is
stand
it
up?
like the shot where it's just like a part of the?
I
drink?
think it's like, can you just stay on your feet?
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's not like a competition where like who could stay on their feet the longest. This
No.
is just for these people. It
It's a-
enhances
you
the
know,
experience.
It's like, what else can we do tonight?
Can I go on record? I don't understand like any of the appeal of anything you've said.
I actually disagree. I think that last one and the the
Fire pit dancing.
those seem completely fine to me. Those seem like if those are
Keep
the only
keep Austin weird, right?
if those are the
Sean?
only two things that happened at Renaissance at night, you'd be like, that's fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
The other three,
The naked Jenga, the swingers tent with the buffet that Cam was very interested in.
that one's also kind of normal.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it was all these things were very intriguing to me. I'm glad I got to experience them one time, but it's kind of like for me going to New Orleans and Mardi Gras. One time was enough.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'll go back
Yeah,
to the
I'm out on
Renaissance
that.
Festival, but
I'm
I
out
don't
on
need
that.
to stay the night again.
All right, Sean, your Mount Rushmore plus one, sir.
Mount Rushmore plus one in honor of the Olympics. Most people watch the Olympics and go, I could do that. I disagree. Here are the Mount Rushmore plus ones of Olympic sports. I have absolutely no shot at even
See, I thought you were
somewhat
going the
competing
opposite
in.
way. I thought you're going one of the ones you could compete. Like we're
Nope.
watching shot put right now. You couldn't
Nope.
you couldn't do it?
I thought about this. I looked up how much do you think the ball weighs?
I'm guessing it's pretty hefty, like 25 pounds.
It's 15.
Oh, that's actually I could throw it a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I would hurt for the next week.
Yeah. I wouldn't be good, but
I could give you one
I
decent
can
throw.
pick up something that weighs 15 pounds and throw it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, for sure.
It'll land right there.
I mean,
but
these
could-
are some big beefy boys though. They're throwing the
I
shot
was thinking
put.
the same thing. But they're throwing it like 20 meters.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's-
No, I'm not throwing it 20
bonkers.
meters.
Things I could not do. Number one, probably the thing I'd be the worst at, synchronized swimming.
Yeah, I'd be bad at that. Definitely.
Just like
Don't
the
they call it something different now?
yeah, they do. It I forgot. Artistic swimming, I think.
So weird. Okay. So weird.
I could not do it alone. I don't think I could swim dance alone.
Is it still synchronized if you're alone?
No, I'm saying I'm saying if you strip it down.
Oh,
I could not
okay,
swim
okay,
dance.
okay.
And now you're adding in I have to do it with someone else
Right.
synchronized.
Right.
Also out.
Yeah,
so
no.
I can't do half the equation.
I can't dance while I don't have the threat of drowning.
Yeah,
much,
I can
much,
sw- I
much,
can
much
swim.
less. Yes.
I can swim. I can dance. I don't think I can do both at the same
Yeah,
time.
no.
And then also synchronize. Next, race walking. Have you seen this?
Oh,
Heard about that one?
I didn't
The
really.
race walking.
I've heard of it. I didn't know it was an Olympic sport. though.
It's literally the
Like you can't your feet can't.
it's speed walking.
Yeah, I think isn't the rule
Both feet
both
can't-
feet can't leave the ground?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
One foot has to be on the
Right.
ground at all times, and that seems very hard to do.
It's like the old people that do the,
Because I
the ball
want
walk.
to run.
Maybe as a 40-year-old, this is a 40-year-old thing, but I think I could
You
speed walk a little bit.
You definitely could do it. I think it'd be hard.
You see people do that in the mall all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it'd be hard to follow the rules.
Yeah, maybe so.
It'd be
That-
hard
that
to
part
try
might
to
be
win
tough.
and do that. Next one, field hockey. Just is very
No.
difficult.
Yeah, no, I'm out
Seems
on that.
very. They have to run full speed, like hunched over.
Yeah, it'd be bad for your back, right?
I almost think that regular hockey is easier, and I cannot skate.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, neat, same.
Next up, probably goes without saying, breakdancing. I don't.
Why
I
is
don't-
that,
I
Sean?
don't think I have to explain why I can't breakdance. Just not a thing I can do. I don't,
You don't want to explain it?
It's not really a sport, but I cannot do
take?
it. I cannot do it. And last but not least, also not really a sport, sailing.
Yeah.
I don't think looking at the equipment that they have to use, I could not do that.
No one working our job has the funds to competitively sail.
That's
That you don't become a competitive sailor unless you have generational wealth that you didn't have to work for.
Yes.
I think that's like
I just get lost looking at the equipment.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No, I think
like
I do.
Andy Bernard from The Office.
Yes.
He was
yes.
always big into that.
Yeah.
Because he had that generational wealth.
Yeah, and he went to a Harvard or a Ivy League
no,
school.
he
Cornell.
Cornell.
Yes, Cornell.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But all
never heard of
so
it.
those 5 I can't do. All the other ones I can do.
Yeah. all the other ones, huh?
All of them.
Boxing, you're in.
I'm in. Oh, definitely. boxing.
Judo, you got this.
Either gender I can box.
Either one. I mean, I'm just saying I'd fight a chick, but I mean, I'm not saying you have to pair me with one, but
I can do it.
I'll fight her. Okay. All right. We got one segment left on the bullpen returns. It's time for our worst people in sports and what we love from sports this week. That one return to ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5.
Broadcasting live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios, it's the Bullpen on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5. What former famous athletes maybe into AJ's mother? We found that out during the break. That could be a Mount Rushmore plus one. I don't know. Well, yeah. No, we can't do that to AJ. He's a nice guy.
No, not to AJ.
No,
but
like, When AJ's not here. Well, okay. Yeah.
No,
AJ didn't
no.
hear that. So
It
it's
could be
cool.
more general. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. Theoretical athletes who might be into one of our producers' mothers. That'll be next week on Mount Rushmore Plus One. This text came into the text line before we get to our worst and loves
Yes.
from 3062. Harking back to my Mount Rushmore Plus One of running backs I wouldn't want to tackle on cocaine. Good answer, Barry Sanders. That dude was spinning around like he was in Madden, nonstop in the backfield, sober. Can you imagine how much he would be wiggling and darting around and juking if he was on cocaine?
I'll say
Every play would take 5 minutes because he'd just be juking back and forth.
I would say for guys that aren't like future Hall of Famers, like someone like Darren Sproles.
Yeah,
also
that would be
just
tough.
Like, oh my god.
Yeah, that would be
Or
real tough.
Vonta Leach, because I remember back in the day, they said that he used to make grown men squeal when he hit them.
Well, there was the game I'll never forget, 2010, the opening game of the season, when Arian Foster ran for like 250 against the Colts and like 4 touchdowns. Vonta Leach was the fullback. Ended up making the Pro Bowl that year, but there was a part towards the end of the game where he came through the hole, and there were some linebackers making businesses. You could see them just turning away, like, you know what, screw it, this game's over. I'm not letting Vonta smack me around anymore. All right, Sean, your worst person in sports this week is
5-star quarterback for University of Nebraska, Dylan Raiola, for walking into, I guess, moving into
Lincoln?
Nebraska. Yeah. Basically just dressed as Patrick Mahomes.
Pat Mahomes. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, guess what? You haven't done anything in this league, kid. All right. That's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. All right.
Yeah.
No, don't try to be like, hey, I'm kind of like Mahomes. No, you're not.
You play for Nebraska. Name
You're
the last
not.
good quarterback they had. Like, settle down.
Tim Couch.
Yeah, I guess. Like, he didn't throw the ball, though. They were still running triple option back then. But my worst person in sports this week actually comes from Xbox user KY863, who I played on College Football 25 yesterday. And this dude, look, like, I don't mind. Like, I don't personally do it unless it's someone I know well and we're like just busting each other's chops. I don't do a lot of the dives into the end zone or like stopping right before it gets to the goal line and letting them tackle me in. Yeah. Unless like if it's me and Sean playing, I would do it. Like, it's all in good fun. But if it's some stranger,
Respect the game.
So this guy, first off, he picks Georgia, the highest rated team on the game. He runs up like 14-0 on me. Because he's one of those guys. I don't know if you ran into this, Sean, but there's guys online who consistently only run like the wide run plays that the game hasn't fixed, like the pursuit pass the linebackers take. So basically, it's just cheese like 80-yard touchdown runs. So it goes up 14-0. My offense gets going. I tie the game, and then I figure out a way to stop that run by using a 4-4, spreading out my linebackers and using a contain. And he couldn't run anymore on me. Like, that play stopped working. So he went up from 14-0, dancing and diving into the end zone, like literally getting to the end zone and running along the goal line all the way to the other pylon before like falling into the end zone, being a complete a-hole. I then go up 28-14 and he quits. Just like if you're gonna dive and do all that, that's fine. But if you want that smoke, when I go up on you and I stop your one play, don't quit. I mean, it was like 3 seconds before the halftime. Even it wasn't even halftime yet, and this dude quit.
Were you playing with Rice?
No, I was playing with Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but still, I mean, Georgia's the top-rated team on the game. They're 92. I think Texas is an 88. And you're running nothing but these cheese plays over and over again. I finally stop it. I go up. It's not even halftime yet, and you quit? Soft.
Soft.
All right, your worst person in sports this week, Cam?
My worst person. Oh my God. Oh yeah, I blanked it. Then I brought it back because I hate him so much. Joe Kelly. Joe Kelly. And then he rightfully got what he deserved. I think you all know what I'm referring to.
Sure.
His little,
the dugout.
His little dugout
yelling
remarks.
at Rennell.
Yeah. Wasn't he yelling at somebody else too? No.
I just remember him yelling at Rennell.
Yeah. I mean, I can't stand that guy. He's got to be the biggest fake tough guy in all of baseball. So it was really nice to see Bregman shut him the bleep up.
Yeah. For sure. All right, let's stop swimming with the Angus Sharks and go ahead and doggy paddle over to the Sea of Tranquility with the things we love from sports this week. There's some audio here, AJ. Cam Newton was playing people in college football 25 and also made someone quit. Someone who then, when Cam was playing in South Carolina, he's playing a dude as Alabama. Cam's giving him that work, blowing him out, scores a long touchdown run up the gut. He wasn't even using the cheesy like sideline to sideline runs. And dude rage quits and starts dropping racial slurs on his way out. Let's hear this audio.
See, in order to play me, you gotta have double, cause you know what I'm saying. When I go crazy, then what?
I playing for 50.
Oh yeah!
It's a glitch kickoff. Go
There you go.
smell like fried chicken. I can smell the fried chicken from here.
I love Cam's reaction.
Oh, that boy man! That boy man! That boy man! That boy man! Bro, that boy got so mad, bro. Oh my God! Did you hear that?
Shout out to Cam Newton, American hero, for blowing out racist on College Football 25 and making him quit.
Can't believe that guy used Alabama too.
He used Alabama and got his ass kicked by South Carolina.
I just meant using that language, being in Alabama.
Oh,
fan.
I know. It's so unlike.
So surprising.
It's so unlike.
I'm
Crimson
confused
Tide
why
fans.
Cam didn't use Auburn.
Well, Auburn kind of sucks, but anyway, Sean, Cam, your what you love from sports this week?
Oh man, Andre Johnson, Hall of Fame.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
All right,
That's a
Sean.
good one. Yeah. Tom Cruise is going to perform a stunt to in the Paris Olympics, and he will rappel down from some statue in France or from a stadium in France and carry the Olympic flag to the Los Angeles, and then skydive down to the Hollywood sign. I appreciate, and this is best person in sports because it's the Olympics. Of course.
Sure.
He has already done this and recorded the skydiving.
It's already done?
He's done the LA portion, but he's going to skydive into Paris live.
So he's skydiving 2 locations.
Yes.
So he's skydiving into Paris to get the flag live,
and they've recorded the
and
LA
he's already
part.
and he's already skydived from a plane or whatever to the Hollywood sign.
I believe so.
Why does this man insist on doing his own stunts?
I love it though.
I think it's because of his height. He's like 5'6".
Yeah, he's
no offense,
overcompensating.
Cam. I think there's some short man syndrome needing to prove himself
I'm not
here.
skydiving.
Miss me with that.
All right. For AJ and Johnny Belmer behind the glass, for Cam, for Sean Mapes, that's Brian McDonald, and we will be back with you again next week, Houston. Have a great weekend.